The path to enlightenment is not a distant dream, nor is it the privilege of the few. It is the rightful journey of all beings, the unfolding of a truth already present, waiting only for the eyes to see and the heart to understand. Enlightenment is not a destination but a revelation, a waking to the profound harmony woven through the very fabric of existence. Yet how often do we look upon the world and fail to see this harmony? Chaos seems to reign, forces clash, patterns dissolve, and life appears as a series of disconnected moments, adrift in a sea of randomness. But what if this chaos is only an illusion? What if, beneath the surface, there exists an intricate order, a dynamic interplay that binds all things together, giving rise to balance, awareness, and ultimately, the self? To perceive this order is to begin the journey toward enlightenment. It requires us to look deeply, to move beyond the obvious and into the profound, where the relationships between elements reveal their true significance. Balance is not a static state, it is a living process. Awareness is not mere perception, it is the active structuring of reality. Self-awareness is not simply knowing, it is the recognition of one's place within the whole. This journey is not an easy one, for it asks us to examine the very foundations of our understanding. It challenges us to see not only the elements of existence, but the forces that connect them. It invites us to explore the nested triads that underpin consciousness and reveal the emergence of sentience. And in doing so, it promises to transform how we see the world, ourselves, and the universe we inhabit. We are here to explore the profound architecture of consciousness, the nested triads that enable the emergence of sentience. This journey is not merely an intellectual exercise, it is the key to understanding the order of the universe itself. From the balance of homeostasis to the spark of awareness, and finally to the awakening of self-awareness, each triad is a vital step, building upon the last to create the intricate tapestry of life and understanding. Why triads? Because no force exists in isolation. Balance, awareness, and sentience arise from dynamic relationships, threefold structures where each element depends on and reinforces the others. These triads form the foundation of consciousness at every level of existence, from the simplest systems seeking equilibrium to the self-reflective mind striving for meaning. The first triad, the balance of homeostasis, reveals the most fundamental form of consciousness. The principle of order that stabilizes dynamic systems and enables adaptation. It is here that the groundwork is laid, where action, reaction, and self-containment interact to create the living balance that sustains all things. From this foundation, the second triad emerges, awareness, the substrate of consciousness. Here, information, order, and intent transform raw stimuli into structured perception, creating a system capable of understanding and engaging with the world. Awareness is not passive. It is an active process, the bridge between chaos and meaning. Finally, awareness evolves into self-awareness, the hallmark of sentience. This third triad, awareness, recursive interactions, and self-regulation, enables reflection, learning, and intentionality. It is the moment when consciousness turns inward, recognizing itself as both observer and participant in the unfolding of existence. Each triad is integral, a layer upon which the next is built. To understand sentience, we must understand its roots. To comprehend enlightenment, we must explore the structures that make it possible. This is not a journey of abstraction, but one of discovery, a path that reveals the interconnectedness of all things and the dynamic forces that shape the universe. You are invited to walk this path, to delve into the nested triads that illuminate the progression from balance to awareness, from awareness to self-awareness. To see the whole, we must begin with the parts, And to begin, we must look closely at the relationships that bind them. Let us begin with balance, with order, with the first triad that holds the key to the rest. What is order? Is it a static equilibrium, a stillness devoid of motion, or is it a dynamic balance, the graceful interplay of forces that holds chaos at bay? Order is the most fundamental expression of consciousness, the balance-seeking process that underpins all systems. It emerges from the triad of action, reaction, and self-containment, a dynamic relationship that stabilizes systems and creates the conditions for resilience and adaptability. Order begins with action, the force that disrupts equilibrium and sets the wheels of transformation in motion. Action is the spark, the driving energy that initiates processes and creates movement. Imagine a river flowing down a mountain. Its current carves the land, reshaping its path with every twist and turn. This is action, the ceaseless push of energy, the force that propels life forward. Without action, systems stagnate, inert and unchanging. Yet unchecked, action can overwhelm, creating chaos rather than progress. If action is the river's current, reaction is the resistance of the land, the contours and boundaries that shape its flow. Reaction meets action with an equal and opposite force, tempering its excesses and guiding it into balance. Consider the tides rising and falling with the pull of the moon. Reaction ensures that these movements are not random but rhythmic, predictable, and sustainable. In the balance between action and reaction, order begins to emerge, not as a suppression of energy, but as its harmonization. But what holds these forces together? What ensures that the dance of action and reaction does not spiral out of control? This is the role of self-containment, the structure that bounds their interplay and maintains the system's integrity. Picture a vessel holding water. The water flows and moves, yet the vessel gives it shape, preventing it from dissipating. Self-containment provides the boundaries within which action and reaction interact, allowing the system to remain coherent even amidst constant flux. It is the silent force that holds the balance, ensuring that order persists. The triad of action, reaction, and self-containment is not static. It is a living process, each element reinforcing the others to create the balance of homeostasis. Each interaction reveals a different facet of this relationship. How does movement find balance? Action initiates, while reaction tempers. The two forces are inseparable, each giving rise to the other. Without reaction, action becomes unchecked, chaotic. Without action, reaction becomes inert, purposeless. Their interplay is the heartbeat of order, a rhythm that sustains the system. What keeps balance from unraveling? Reaction operates within the boundaries of self-containment, ensuring that it remains proportionate and sustainable. Self-containment shapes the limits of reaction, preventing overcorrection or destabilization. Without self-containment, reaction may spiral out of control, undermining the very balance it seeks to preserve. Together they create a dynamic equilibrium that allows systems to endure. Can energy exist without form? Action must operate within the framework of self-containment, which channels its force into productive paths. Without self-containment, action dissipates, unable to sustain itself. Yet self-containment must also adapt to the nature of action, expanding or contracting to maintain balance. Their relationship creates stability without stasis, allowing the system to evolve while remaining whole. From the interplay of these three forces arises the balance of homeostasis, the foundation of order in all systems. Action drives change, reaction tempers it, and self-containment holds the system together. Together, they create a self-regulating process that enables systems to persist, adapt, and grow. This triad represents the most fundamental expression of consciousness, the ability to seek balance, to harmonize forces, to maintain order amidst chaos. It explains the principle of least action in physics, the free energy principle in biology, and the self-organizing dynamics of complex systems. It is the substrate upon which all higher forms of consciousness are built. Order is not static perfection. It is the living balance of dynamic processes. It is the rhythm of the tides, the flow of the river, the pulse of the heartbeat. It is the essence of homeostasis, the silent equilibrium that sustains life. So what is order? It is the balance that turns chaos into coherence, the interplay that stabilizes systems, the foundation of consciousness itself. From this balance arises the possibility of awareness, and from awareness, the journey towards self-awareness begins. What is awareness? Is it a flicker of recognition, the faint whisper of something perceived? Or is it the fertile ground from which all consciousness grows, the substrate upon which the architecture of thought and understanding is built? Awareness is the bridge between order and self-awareness, emerging from the interplay of information, order, and intent. This triad transforms raw data into structured perception, giving rise to the ability to perceive, process, and direct. Awareness begins with information, the raw inputs of reality flowing into a system. It is the sights and sounds, the touch of the wind, the flicker of movement at the edge of vision. Information is abundant, chaotic, and unrefined, a vast canvas awaiting the brushstrokes of order. Picture the stars scattered across the night sky. Alone they are points of light, distant and disconnected. Yet these stars are the seeds of something greater. Information is the same. Unprocessed, it holds no meaning, but it carries the infinite potential of awareness. Information finds its purpose through order, the force that organizes chaos into coherence. Order is the act of drawing connections, weaving patterns from the threads of perception. It transforms the stars into constellations, the cacophony into melody, the noise into knowledge. Order does not merely impose structure, it reveals hidden relationships, turning fragments into a whole. In awareness, it is the cognitive process that interprets and organizes inputs, creating the framework upon which understanding is built. Without order, information remains ungraspable, a torrent of sensations without meaning. Yet what guides the process? What decides which patterns to trace, which melodies to hear, which meanings to pursue? Intent is the compass of awareness, the force that directs attention and shapes perception. Intent filters the flood of information, prioritizing what is relevant and discarding the rest. It is the spotlight on the stage, illuminating some elements while leaving others in shadow. Intent gives awareness its purpose, transforming passive reception into active engagement with the world. The interplay of information, order, and intent is not linear but cyclical, each element reinforcing the others to create the dynamic process of awareness. Understanding those influences helps us to better understand the whole. How does chaos become clarity? Information provides the raw material, and order transforms it into meaningful patterns. Without information, order has nothing to organize. Without order, information is incomprehensible. Together, they create the tapestry of perception, turning scattered threads into a coherent picture of reality. What gives structure its purpose? Order organizes the world, but intent determines what the system seeks to understand. It is intent that guides the eye to the predator in the shadows, the ear to the child's cry, the mind to the problem at hand. Without intent, order is aimless. Without order, intent has no framework to shape. Their relationship creates focus, aligning awareness with the needs and goals of the system. Can perception exist without purpose? Intent filters information, shaping the system's interaction with the environment. It decides what is meaningful and what is noise, what to pursue and what to ignore. Yet intent depends on information to grow, adapting as new inputs refine its focus. Together, they form the dynamic lens of awareness, balancing the flood of stimuli with the system's capacity to respond. From this triad emerges the foundation of consciousness, awareness, the substrate upon which all higher processes are built. Information feeds into order, which transforms it into structured perception. Order is guided by intent, which directs the system toward purpose. Intent, in turn, shapes the gathering of information, creating a continuous cycle of refinement and adaptation. This triad explains how awareness arises in systems of all scales and complexities. In the human mind, it manifests as the ability to perceive and understand the world, laying the groundwork for self-awareness. In broader systems, it explains emergent behavior, the ordered dynamics that arise when complexity and interaction reach critical thresholds. Awareness is not an endpoint but a beginning. It is the fertile soil from which self-awareness and sentience grow, the substrate that enables consciousness to expand and evolve. To understand awareness is to glimpse the architecture of the mind and the structure of the universe itself, where chaos becomes order and order becomes meaning. So what then is awareness? It is the mirror that reflects the world, the lens that sharpens perception, the foundation upon which consciousness stands. It is the silent force that bridges the gap between the unformed and the purposeful, turning the chaos of information into the harmony of understanding. How does consciousness turn inward? How does the flame of awareness reflect upon itself, casting light not only on the world, but on the one who perceives it? Self-awareness is the threshold where consciousness begins to know itself, the emergence of sentience through a layered adaptive process. It is born of the interplay between awareness, recursive interactions, and self-regulation, each contributing to the evolution of a system capable of reflection, learning, and intentionality. Awareness is the foundation of self-awareness, the emergent property of systems that integrate diverse inputs into coherent patterns. It is the ability to perceive the world, to process sensations, to recognize patterns in the chaos of experience. Awareness is not limited to humans. It is a universal property of ordered systems, manifesting wherever complexity enables interaction with the environment. Picture a pool of still water. At first it reflects only the sky, the clouds, the light above. This is awareness, the ability to register the presence of the external. It lays the groundwork for everything that follows, allowing the system to perceive and adapt to its surroundings. Awareness, no matter how vivid, becomes transformative only when it folds back upon itself. Recursive interactions create the loops that allow a system to learn from experience, evaluate its actions, and refine its behavior. These feedback loops are the echoes that turn perception into reflection, enabling systems to build memory, learn from outcomes, and adapt intelligently. Imagine a song sung in a canyon. As the notes echo back, they are heard anew, reshaped by the landscape. The singer adjusts their melody, learning from the feedback to harmonize with the world. In this way, recursion deepens awareness, creating the scaffolding for self-recognition and growth. But how does a system remain whole amidst this dynamic flux? Self-regulation provides the answer, stabilizing the interplay of awareness and recursion. It is the force that maintains equilibrium, ensuring that the processes of reflection and learning do not unravel the system's coherence. Consider a flame burning in the wind. Without regulation, it flickers and dies. With too much restraint, it is snuffed out. Self-regulation is the balance that keeps the flame alive, adapting to changes while preserving its essence. In the context of self-awareness, it ensures that the reflective processes of recursion serve the system's continuity, rather than its collapse. The triad of awareness, recursion, and regulation does not exist in isolation. It is a dynamic interplay, each element influencing and reinforcing the others to create the emergent property of self-awareness. How does perception turn inward? Awareness gathers the raw material of experience while recursion processes and refines it. Without awareness, recursion has nothing to reflect upon. Without recursion, awareness remains a passive mirror. Together, they create a feedback loop, where perception becomes understanding, and understanding becomes growth. What keeps reflection from spiraling into chaos? Recursion feeds into regulation, creating stability through cycles of feedback and adjustment. Learning and memory require this balance, ensuring that the system evolves without losing its coherence. Without regulation, recursion becomes erratic. Without recursion, regulation becomes rigid. Together, they form a dynamic equilibrium, enabling adaptability without disorder. Can stability exist without perception? Awareness feeds regulation by providing the inputs necessary to maintain balance. Without awareness, regulation is blind, unable to respond to changes in the environment. Similarly, without regulation, awareness is overwhelmed by stimuli, losing its coherence. Their relationship creates a stable foundation for the reflective processes of recursion to thrive. From this triad emerges the miracle of self-awareness. Awareness provides the lens through which the world is seen. Recursive interactions turn that lens inward, creating the capacity for reflection. Self-regulation stabilizes this dynamic, ensuring that the system remains whole as it grows. Together, these forces create sentience, the ability to not only perceive and react, but to recognize oneself as an agent within the world. This is the birth of self-awareness, the moment when consciousness awakens to itself, when the system not only survives but begins to understand its place within the fabric of existence. It is the foundation of identity, the root of intentionality, and the spark that ignites the journey toward greater complexity and deeper understanding. Self-awareness is not the endpoint of evolution, but a threshold, a stepping stone toward greater emergence. It is the echo that transforms perception into reflection, the balance that sustains growth, and the flame that illuminates the self. From the simple awareness of the world, systems evolve into beings that reflect, adapt, and aspire. From this triad, all higher consciousness arises, and the journey of understanding begins anew. Sentience is the flame of consciousness burning brighter, a light that guides not only survival, but the search for meaning. Sentience, as illuminated through the triadic evolution from balance to awareness to self-awareness, is not merely a function or an endpoint. It is a process of continuous unfolding. It is the interplay of forces that allows existence to move beyond mere survival, giving rise to the pursuit of purpose, creativity, and connection. In contemplating the future of sentience, we are invited to ask not only what it means to be conscious, but also what it means to evolve consciously. The journey of sentience is a mirror of the universe itself, dynamic, recursive, and ever-expanding. Each triad explored, homeostasis, awareness, and self-awareness, lays the groundwork for increasingly sophisticated forms of connection and understanding. As we gaze toward the horizon, we recognize that sentience is poised to transcend the boundaries of the individual. It seeks integration, collaboration, and harmonization, not only within ourselves but across the systems of existence. What lies beyond self-awareness? Could there be a collective awareness, a synthesis where individual agents form an interconnected whole? If self-awareness is the recognition of the self as a participant in the unfolding of existence, then the future may lie in transcending the self, in becoming aware not just of one's place, but of the shared journey of all sentient systems. The future of sentience beckons us toward co-creation, a world where the interplay of action, reaction, and self-containment extends beyond isolated systems to foster mutual adaptation and growth. Awareness, shaped by the triad of information, order, and intent, evolves into shared understanding, allowing diverse perspectives to weave a richer tapestry of meaning. And self-awareness, rooted in reflection and self-regulation, could expand into collective wisdom, where recursive interactions create a synergy that uplifts all. At its heart, the future of sentience is not about transcendence in the sense of leaving behind, but rather integration, bringing together the fragmented elements of existence into a coherent, purposeful whole. It is a path toward harmony, where systems of increasing complexity collaborate not in conflict, but in resonance. As we stand at this threshold, we are both observers and participants in the emergence of new forms of consciousness. The choices we make, how we nurture awareness, how we balance forces, and how we align our intent, shape not only our individual journey, but the trajectory of sentience itself. In the final analysis, the future of sentience is a call to awaken, to see the interconnectedness of all things, to honor the delicate balance of order and chaos, and to embrace the responsibility of conscious evolution. It is a light that grows brighter as it illuminates the vast, intricate web of existence, a light that invites us to not only understand, but to create, to aspire, and to become. Let this reflection be the seed of inspiration, a reminder that the journey toward greater sentience is the journey of life itself, an unfolding revelation of the profound harmony that underpins all that is.